Hey everybody, welcome to We Chat Football, the channel where we chat football. And today, match week 2 Premier League. There is so much to talk about in this match week, to be fair. Talking about Eze transfer to Arsenal. What does that mean for Arsenal? Does that change anything for the Gunners? Does that improve anything for them um, going forward? I know there's a lot of people in the spaces saying that it doesn't change anything. For me personally, I believe that it does because I believe that adding a player like Eze to Arsenal will unlock Gyökeres going forward. That's just my belief. Also, the Isak situation. Yes, the Isak ongoing situation that looks like it's never ever gonna end at Newcastle. That is still ongoing. A lot of people saying that that's gonna come to a stop whenever the transfer window closes. But for my take, I don't believe that it will. I believe that this is going to be ongoing until Isak decides that he either leave Newcastle or Liverpool cut all interest with Isak this season. But right now, as it stems, it is going to be a long couple of days for the ending of the season and stuff. Remember, we have a fantasy league going, so you can join our fantasy league if you're interested in joining our fantasy league. And guys, just drop a comment when you join the stream. Drop a comment, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. Trying to get to 250 subscribers, so yeah, you can do that if you want to. Give me a second here. Yeah, just drop a comment and a like on the stream when you join the stream. Yeah, no. Where should we start? I think the only place we should start in this week is Eze to Arsenal, and does that change anything? Yes, for me, changes a lot. To be fair, if I'm not judging Arsenal too much going forward, but from what we see in match week 1, where we see the Arsenal midfield kind of struggle to create for Gyökeres. They really, really struggle to create for Gyökeres on match week 1, and the only way to fix that is to get somebody in that's like super creative, and we know Eze is creative. That we know for a fact that Eze is creative. So bringing a player in like Eze um, into this Arsenal team will free up Gyökeres. Like Gyökeres made all the right runs in the Manchester United game, but yeah, the likes of Odegaard was not able to find him. Like it was a struggle for Odegaard to pick the right pass. He was always going for the safe pass. Saka the same thing. They were always going for the same pass, safe pass, Martinelli. So because these guys have been used to playing with the likes of Havertz for over the years, and then Havertz would drift out of the space in the attack and allow the likes of Saka to run through, or the likes of Martinelli to run through and stuff like that. So therefore, they're used to that. So they're not used to playing with a striker. Where for Eze coming from Crystal Palace, he's used to playing with a striker, and that would make a whole lot of difference going forward for Arsenal. And I think that adding Eze to this Arsenal team have put them like strongly in this title race. And yes, for me personally, I had them out of the title race. I didn't have them in the title race this season, just because like from last season to this season, Arteta would have to change a lot about how he played, and I didn't see where the changes was coming from. But yes, adding an Eze to this, a different dynamic to how Arsenal play, I think that that will change a lot for them this season going forward. And I think it's a brave move for Eze to move over to Arsenal. I do believe it's a brave one. Tottenham was there. He would have guaranteed game time at Tottenham without a doubt. Like lots of game time would be guaranteed at Tottenham due to the fact that he would just walk into us as a starter. at Arsenal, I think he will maybe move over to play the left wing. And I think that's where he's going to just hold on his starting spot because I do believe that he realized that he might not dislodge Odegaard from playing in that number 10. And that's where he plays for Crystal Palace, I think. But it's kind of different because Crystal Palace doesn't play with a back four. Crystal Palace play with a back five with the wing backs pushing up, and then they play with like two tens, which is Sar and Eze, and he played on like left side of the attacking midfield. So it's kind of different. But again, if he's playing left and drifting in, then whoever's playing down that wing back, like left back, is gonna be going around him to get more space. So it will be a lot of creativity for Arsenal because then they'll have more creativity from the middle of the park per se out wide. So yes, it's a game changer. And if you do play fantasy football, I would think that picking up Eze this week might be a bonus because it might be cheaper. And if you pick him up next week, it's still a bonus as well. But I think that Eze is somebody that people should look to pick up in their team going forward for the rest of the season. Because I do believe that that's the player that Arsenal need to get Gyökeres some goals. And it will change for Gyökeres, I believe, getting Eze in the team because there's somebody who will always look up to play, that plays with a striker before and find him. So yeah, massive for Eze joining Arsenal. I know Tottenham was like this close to signing him, and Tottenham is getting a lot of banter right now, but it's kind of difficult when the big clubs come calling. Like players is gonna turn them down. Similar to the Isak situation right now, where he's at a standstill with Newcastle, and I know everybody's saying, guess what? Newcastle is in the driving seat. Isak has to see out his contract, but the fact of the matter is, for squad harmony, you don't want to see a player around your squad that is just moping around, dragging their legs, and just bringing morals down around the team. It could cause more harm than good keeping Isak for Newcastle. And I'm not talking from a Liverpool's fan perspective because we want to sign Isak. I'm talking from a perspective of seeing it happen to my club before, of um, playing, like even playing the sport, and then you have people who not pulling their full weight around when you are playing, and it kind of demoralized the whole team and stuff like that. So we'll see. Plus, we see the post that Bruno Guimaraes made, and how does that affect Isak going back into the dressing room? So there's a lot to digest right now when it comes down to the whole Isak and Newcastle saga. I don't think it's, even if Isak doesn't move this summer, I don't think the saga ends this summer. I think the saga ends after Isak leaves Newcastle. That's it. Unless he goes back in and sign a brand new contract at Newcastle. And if he does, I do think that it's gonna put in a release clause in that contract. And it won't be. I don't think it's going to be the end of the Newcastle Isak situation, but it's really kind of tough to see where it goes after here. Like, I mean, personally, I would love to have Isak at Liverpool personally, but Ekiti can look good. Can he lead the line for us to win the title this season? Yet to be seen. He took his goal really well against Bournemouth first game of the season, which looks great. Couple of years time, he might be one of the top strikers in the league. Who knows? But at this moment, he's not. And Isak is a difference maker for Liverpool. But going from like the whole thing around Newcastle, it's not what Newcastle wanted at this moment, because they could actually get players in that could be like looking at Newcastle as a stepping stone. Not saying that Newcastle see themselves as a stepping stone, but a lot of players would. And if a lot of players that would see themselves as a stepping stone decide that they want to go to Newcastle, play a few years, leave, but if things turn around, look good, stay, then they're looking at maybe at this saga being like, okay, then if Is that how hard it is to get out the club? Do I want to go there because it's so hard to get out? And that's the other thing. But players have egos. Players with egos always back themselves to do well and be able to leave. I know there's a lot going on in and around the Isak thing. I still believe that agents need to do better. To be fair, that's just my thing. I believe that like football agents need to start doing better right now. It too much gentleman's agreement going into these contracts. Too much you promise this. Too much of that. Like you're an agent, do your job, get these things in writing. If this was in writing for Isak and Newcastle that I have a release clause, this is the release clause. Liverpool comes in, match a release clause, done. That's it. There wouldn't be no long drawn out saga in the summer with Isak and Newcastle. It would be pretty straightforward. Newcastle would know where they stand. Isak would know where he stand, and from there they can move forward. But the thing is that there's too much agents right now that are not putting in these proper clauses in players' contract. That's causing these standoff between clubs and players. Right? We've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen like with the likes of Harry Kane at Tottenham, gentleman's agreement. Like, what's up with these gentleman agreement? How about you do your job? You want a player, they want the player to sign a new contract. Get a release clause in. The player's coming into the club. If you know that if the player's gonna succeed to a certain level, you'll be looking to move in a few years. Insert a release clause in the contract. So therefore, when it's time for the player to leave, the player will leave. Because if there's a release clause in the contract right now between Newcastle and Isak, it's easy. But now you have the player and the club going at war over he wants to leave and people picking side. Oh, free Isak, or Newcastle is right, he can't go. Thing is, just get the release clause in the contract. Like, come on, agents getting paid big, because these agents ain't getting like a small amount of money when they do these negotiations with the club. They're getting a big payday. So do your job. Get some proper writing in these contracts to say that if the club, the player has a release clause that runs, that every club know that the player has this release clause and it will take this to get the player out of the club. If you want to move your agent on, not to the fact that we're no, you're going at war. No, Isak is not training. No, Isak is missed a whole preseason. To be fair, disrupt his preseason, disrupt Newcastle's preseason, disrupt Newcastle's plans going forward. Because Newcastle want to build around Isak because they're trying to break into the top four. Isak is thinking, I need to move on now because I want to win some trophies. Yeah, he won one last season. He wants to move on, but can't because the agent didn't do his job. And this is where I put the blame down on that individual as the agent for not doing your job to making sure that the player himself has a release clause in his contract. Right? If you knew this was coming up, like you could have renegotiated a contract last season or the season before that and insert a release clause in the contract. You can renegotiate same terms, same length with a release clause. Simple as. But no, you didn't want to do that because again, I don't know if you're just collecting the bag or you're looking out for the best of the player, but agent failed right there. That's just where I am with the whole Isak situation, is that it's a failure on the agent's part for not making sure that there was a release clause in Isak's contract when Isak signed for Newcastle. If you're looking to move your client out of Newcastle in a few years. Because yeah, it's easy to say Isak is in the wrong. It's easy to say Newcastle is in the wrong. But it's definitely not, nobody's looking at is that why didn't the agent did his job to protect his asset, which is the player, and making sure that there is a release clause in this contract. So whenever the player decide that he wants to leave, then he can get the chance to leave. That's it. Simple as, man. Come on now. These agents get a lot of money, so they need to start doing their job properly, protecting their clients, which are the players, and getting release clauses in these contracts. Again, personally, I don't care if it's Liverpool that the player is coming in and demanding to have a release clause in his contract. I don't care which club it is, but for an agent, that they need to look after their player and look after their player really well. To be fair, because yeah, this just does not look good. I know it's a drawn out saga, and the fans is hating the player. The player is despises the club because again he's saying um, promises were met. Newcastle right now is in shambles. To be fair, because they don't have any proper structure above Eddie Howe, so they look in shambles. But beyond the point, if the agent had put a release clause in the contract beyond what's happening at the head of Newcastle. Beyond Newcastle can't seem to sign anybody, that would become irrelevant because what would happen is he would have a release clause. And that's where I stand on the whole Isak thing. Um, Same thing with Wissa. Wissa is trying to get out of Brentford right now to get to Newcastle, and it's the same problem. Same problem is doesn't have a release clause in his contract. And with no release clause in his contract, it's making it very, very difficult for Wissa to get out of Brentford. As the same. He's not training. He's going through all of this. He's doing pretty much the same as what Isak is doing. Yes, it doesn't get as much coverage because again, it's from Brentford to Newcastle. That's not a big talking point. We're talking about the one of the top goal scorers of the Premier League in Isak and the Premier League winners in Liverpool trying to do business. So yeah, that's just something different right there. But if we switch it up a little bit and we talk about the game that's today, which is the West Ham versus Chelsea game, that is going to be. I think Chelsea might slap West Ham really bad today. Really do think Chelsea might slap West Ham really bad today um, in this game. Cole Palmer might show up because this is the games that he really thrive in. So he might show up in this game. João Pedro might show up. West Ham look dire. They don't look like they can defend. A lot of the players at West Ham look like they don't even want to be there from what I see from game week one. Things can change. It's a London derby. They might get up for it, but it looks really peak for West Ham going into this season. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Graham Potter, they sack Graham Potter. It wouldn't be surprising if they sack Graham Potter this season. To be fair, that would not be surprising if Graham Potter got sacked before the end of the season. But yeah, I have no clue what's happening at West Ham. The squad is better than how the squad is playing. I don't know if like players in that squad that wants to leave are they down in tools? Are they just not believing in the manager? Are they not? Are they do they lose faith in the project? But yeah, West Ham is heading to a relegation battle for the rest of the season, and Chelsea looks like they want to bounce back from that bore fest they had last week. Oh my god, that game was so boring. But yeah, so Chelsea is looking to bounce back from that, and I think that they will. I think this game today might be some goals in this game. Um, Again, maybe lots of goals in this game. Yeah, it's a strange one with Chelsea because they look good in the Club World Cup, really good. Like I start thinking that they might put on a show for the match week one, but then their game in match week one, we see, yeah, it just failed to ignite anything against Crystal Palace in a game that Crystal Palace should have win. But again, rules are the rules. Eze goal didn't stand because of Guay. Those are the rules, and yeah. So yeah, hopefully Chelsea pulled something out. Then the Saturday morning early kickoff is Manchester United, Manchester City, and Tottenham, which is a crazy game. City looks good. Tottenham looks better than last season. Um, Going into this game, Tottenham is always somewhat of a bogey team for Manchester City. So yeah, Tottenham has always been like that over the years. Doesn't matter who the manager is. It's for some reason City sometimes struggle against Tottenham, and I say sometimes because sometimes the games are like blown out, but sometimes they struggle. I don't know why that is, but it happens. Bogey teams do exist. Um, I know there is a transfer going on between City and Tottenham right now for the likes of Savino. And with Tottenham losing out on Eze, will they turn the lights to sign Savino? That is a question that we all have to ask because we're not sure. Personally, I'm not sure. Is it what they need? Because that's another player on that plays wide. He's not like a central player. Are they looking to maybe bring Savina in and then move Kudos in the 10? Which will be interesting. That could be a way that they go about it after missing out on Eze, is that they maybe sign Savina and then play Savina out wide and then move Kudos inside, which I believe that if Tottenham gets Savina, they will be getting a really, really good player. And that would change it for Tottenham as well. Signing the likes of Savino. That would move them up couple of levels. Yes, I know it didn't work out for Savina at Manchester City, and I know that okay that for me it's more of a Pep way. Why it didn't work? He's when you see him in Girona, there is a lot more freedom. Going into Tottenham, he would have somewhat of more freedom than what he has playing under a Pep system. No, the price that Man City is asking for is a little bit too steep, I think, for Tottenham, and they don't want to get to that level, to that amount. However, we all know the deal between Girona and Man City was not at market value for the player. We know Man City played like I think 20 or 30 something um, mil for Savino when he came in to Manchester City. And we know we all question that because one of the top goal scorers in La Liga is moving for that amount of money was questioned. But Girona is a sister club of Manchester City. We move from there. We know it. We question it. We keep it moving because we understand what was happening. City quoting 70 mil for Savino. I don't think it's crazy. When you look at the players that are moving this season and the price that they're moving for, right? You're again, he's just one season removed from the player that was one of the top scorers in La Liga. So being one season removed from that, I don't think the asking price is too much. And the other question is, does he have a sell-on clause in the contract that they're signing from Girona? Was there a sell-on clause? That's something else that we need to find out, because if there is, then City can't turn around and sell him for 50 if there's a sell-on clause, because they're not going to be making any money. It is a money business. It's about flipping the players. You're not going to buy a player for mid 20s or mid 30s and then turn around and sell him back after one season for less than 50. That doesn't make any sense. So, and I don't think that there is any good relationship between Tottenham and Manchester City, where Manchester City is going to lower the price for Savina for them. So yeah, I just think Tottenham have the money. Just pay the money, get Savina in, because you miss out on Eze. You can't afford to miss out on another target at this moment. Similar to Newcastle. Newcastle's just go in, pay the money, get Wissa out, and because they need players, they need attackers, and we go from there. I mean, the lights is down that Tottenham is interested in Wissa. And that's where it becomes really interesting, because if Tottenham is going in for Wissa because Frank is like, I need to get Wissa in the team since we missed out on Eze, then here goes Newcastle losing another target to another Premier League team due to the fact that they can't get deals over the line. So this transfer window has been nothing but chaos. in the end of the transfer window. The first half of the transfer window, everything was going smooth. All the teams that are at the top was just playing, getting the transfer done early, going in. They want a player, get the player done. Everything looks good. The ending of the transfer window is like complete chaos, like mad chaos. Now, the next game on Saturday, we just move on quickly. The next game on Saturday is going to be Bournemouth versus Wolves. I mean, Wolves need 3 points, and Bournemouth, like they played good against Liverpool in parts. Not for the whole game, but in parts they played good. A few debutants didn't hit the world of light for Liverpool, but Semenya had a world class game and scored 2 goals against us. That was funny to watch. That he's how he ran through the whole team, and nobody decided to foul him. That's kind of crazy. But Wolves needs points. They need to pick up points against teams like these. I know they had Manchester City first game up. Manchester City first game of the season is not easy. That is not an easy game. Manchester City first game of the season, so they need to pick up points. And I think Bournemouth is where they're going to try to pick up points. However, Bournemouth is at home, and that's going to be really difficult for them to pick up points there. So I could see Bournemouth winning this game. Brentford, Aston Villa. Aston Villa is going to win because I think Brentford looks dire. Like the first game that they played, they don't look good defensively. They don't look good in the attack. They just look dire in that first game. So I think Brentford is gonna pick that game, and yeah, I back I'm sorry, Aston Villa to beat Brentford. Burnley, Sunderland. Sunderland, I think, is gonna win that game. Arsenal Leeds. I don't know if the Eze signing will come through in time for Arsenal to get him in their lineup against Leeds. I don't think it will. So I'm not thinking that he'll be playing this Saturday, because I think the deal has to be fully completed by today to get him in the squad for Saturday. But I don't think Arteta is gonna just put him in the team without going through a training session with him, because again, you're just going to be playing completely different from what the manager wants you to play. And I don't think that would make any sense for Arteta to have him in the team. However, I don't see Leeds losing this game, and it could be a high scoring game. And Arsenal, we could see Gyökeres on the score sheet for the first time, breaking his Premier League duck for the first time this season and grabbing his goal. But it could also be a cagey affair as well, because Leeds could give Arsenal a little bit of scare. It could be a high scoring where both teams do score in this game, or we could see Arsenal go back to being the same old Arsenal, score, sit back, trying to hit Leeds on transition, and Leeds dig in and try to win the game, or Arteta trying to prove a point and try to go out all attack and Leeds hit them on counter attacks. I don't know, but I am not impressed with what I see from game one from Arsenal, but things can change in game two, and things can change in game 3 and 4. As the season go on, every team improves and every team start playing better. The better teams, I would say. The worst teams just get worse because of confidence. But the better team do get better as the season go on. So I do have Arsenal for this win, but this game might be a cagey one as well. Um, Palace versus Forest. Another boring draw. I can just see another boring draw coming out of that one, because Nuno is defensive. Glasner sets up real defensive as well. So it could just be a boring 0-0 or 1-1 or something like that. I just see a draw in that game. Everton versus Brighton. After Everton losing to Leeds, Everton need to pick up points, and Brighton need to pick up some points after dropping points against Fulham over the weekend. So we're gonna see Everton trying to bounce back. They're gonna be at home in their shiny new stadium. So we'll see how that looks for them. That's when on Sunday might be watching that game. Maybe doing a hit along to Everton Brighton. That might be a more exciting game to watch on Sunday with Sunday vibes rather than the Palace Nottingham Forest. I do not want to watch that game because I think that game is going to be boring as hell. And yeah, both teams need 3 points. Everton need to bounce back because again, I don't believe that they're going to be in and around the relegation battle. I think they'll improve throughout the course of the season. And going home for that first game in the new stadium is going to be massive. That's going to be massive for Everton and Everton fans in that game. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes with Everton. Yeah, normally it's not the Friday vibes that you guys are used to, but due to the fact that I have prior arrangement, we just kicked this off really early this morning. If I do have time, I might do another one later today, but we'll see. And then we go Fulham and Manchester United. And that's away at Fulham. Manchester United need to bounce back against Fulham. I do think that the firepower in Manchester United can get them 3 points. I do believe that they have like a proper firepower right now that could get them the points. We have to see how they play with the front line of Mbeumo, Cunha, and the likes of Sesko up front. We have to see how that front three plays. I know that they tried to sign Belieber couple of weeks last week, Manchester United. However, they rumors coming out that they move and they're looking at the likes of Ben Stiller from Stuttgart and they're looking to bring him in. A lot of people rate Ben Stiller, but we'll see. And that would be an improvement because if they can get someone like a Ben Stiller in the midfield and have the likes of Ben Stiller playing with Bruno, because I don't think they can drop Bruno, but it would be interesting to see Ben Stiller and Ugarte playing together, when they're playing against the big teams, because both players can break up play and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how both players how they play if they get Ben Stiller in. But Stiller is a good defensive midfielder. And I think that would be a really good signing for Manchester United. And they're finally looking into the right direction of rebuilding the team the way Amorim wants. And we can see from match week 1 that he starts getting his players and the players that he likes into the club, and it's changes. There's a lot of changes happening right after that, where now they're looking a lot better and they're looking like they want to push on and they want to win. So yeah, we see how Manchester United go, but as well, Fulham drawing against Brighton like last week, they need 3 points as well because I don't think they want to get dragged into that relegation dogfight either. So everybody's just trying to get as much points, stack up in the first half of the season. So when the second half of the season comes around, when it's coming into the business end, then at least you have points in the bag rather than scrambling trying to get points to build up your season. Now, for the big match of the weekend, the Isak Derby, and I could have led with that right out of the Isak situation, but I just wanted to do this one at the end. Newcastle versus Liverpool. Newcastle need points on the board. Liverpool need to continue winning because, again, you can't afford to drop points. You can't afford to play catch up early on in the season because Man City looks like they're going to be the real deal this season. You have the likes of Arsenal signing Eze, and I believe that's a game changer for me. Thing is, Liverpool, two key signing at the end of a transfer window that they're trying to get in. Both players looks like they're not moving, which is Isak and Mark Guay. Looks like they're not going to be moving out of respective clubs. I hear that Glasner saying that Mark Guay will need to stay this season. I don't know if that transfer is going to be coming through before the transfer window close. But again, with Eze leaving, do they really need to sell more? I know Mark Guay is not signing a new contract and he could leave on a free, but will Crystal Palace gamble on keeping Mark Guay for a year just to win a competition in Europe rather than trying to move him on and get the money for him? That's something we're yet to see. I'm not sure. It's a really strange one. I'm not sure. But I read something this morning that Glasner wants to keep Mark Guehi and not move him on this transfer window because I think that they are struggling to find replacement for their captain. No, that's an interesting one. So that simply means that Liverpool turn focus somewhere else, or will they wait? From what I can tell, and this is how I know Liverpool operates since these new people coming in, it's that they don't go for second targets. So they rather wait to get the target that they need than go for a backup target or a second target. So we could see where this um, season the backline is what we see. I know we just signed in that kid in from Italy. We brought him over. He's gonna be, I think, fourth choice. Center back. We're keeping Joe Gomez. We have Kanate, who again, the game against Bournemouth, he doesn't look like he's in the game. But Kanate is a top defender for us. We have Van Dijk. So that's four defenders that we have. Two out of the four are injury prone, where we have Van Kanate that's injury prone. He had one good season last season where there was no injuries. And we have Joe Gomez who's coming from a terrible injury this season. And that could change going in. But does that mean that we maybe wait before we bring in the likes of Mark Guehi, gamble on Joe Gomez's fitness? Is that what we're gonna do going into the season? Or are we gonna look to bring in someone else? That's yet to be seen. But if we can keep Joey fit throughout the season, that would be a massive coup for us. To be fair, because the fact that no, going into this weekend, Frimpong is injured and he's going to be coming back after the international break. Joe Gomez can play right back, which again, it is massive. And that is a big importance of keeping the likes of Joe Gomez or someone like Joe Gomez in and around the squad. Getting a Mark Guay in would be good. But if Crystal Palace still don't feel like they want to move him on this summer, then we might just have to wait until the ending of the January, try to get him in at that point in time, or try to go in for him after the season ends on a free transfer and see if we can tie him up there and get him in for next season. But for right at this moment, Crystal Palace does not look like they want to move Marguerite on or entertain any conversation about selling Mark Guay this summer window. That's reports that I read this morning that they're not looking to. What the manager said that he's not looking to getting rid of Mark Guay this summer. Things change. That's press conference. Managers say a lot, but yeah. On to the match though with Newcastle Liverpool. It's going to be an interesting one. I think people are saying that there might be a lot of emotions going into this between the players, the Newcastle players. I know the Newcastle players, they feed on emotion, especially the midfield. I think it's going to be a very tight game. Very, very tight game. It's going to be an extremely hostile environment going to St. James Park, if that's still what it's called. It's going to be an intense game going there. Liverpool, if we come out of that game with a draw, I'll accept it before going in. Let's just say that before going in, the hostile environment, if we come out with a draw, I'll accept it. If we go into that game and we dominate but leave with a draw, I'll be very disappointed. I'll be extremely disappointed. I know, like in a lot of spaces, depending on who you watch on the YouTube space, there's a lot of YouTube content creators is saying that Newcastle is gonna go in. They're gonna be all emotional going into this game, and there might be lots of tackle flying in, all that kind of stuff. I don't think Eddie Howe is gonna allow that to happen due to the fact that he can't afford for it to get to the point where Newcastle is playing with 10 or somebody's picking up a red card for something rash. I know you can't control what's happening on the field, but I think that would be the message coming out of the dressing room from Eddie Howe going into this game. For us, we just have to go in. We just have to play the occasion. Yes, there's going to be a lot of tackles flying into the game because Newcastle versus Liverpool is always a spicy affair over the years. There's a lot of 4-3s over the years. It's going to be a spicy affair. Now, watching the game with Newcastle and Aston Villa over the weekend, there is a lot of threat going down Newcastle wings, and Liverpool look suspect on the wings so far this season. But the problem that I think Newcastle had in that Aston Villa game was their finishing, the lack of finishing. And if one thing Liverpool had in the Bournemouth game that went for them is that we scored four. So it might be one of those high scoring games this weekend. I mean, again, it might not. It might be another game that involves about 6 goals between Newcastle and Liverpool, which wouldn't be a stranger to this fixture over the years. This fixture has have some epic 4-3s in this fixtures over the years, where last minute winners and stuff and stuff like that. We have was it last season or the season before? Darwin Nunes with the brace to win the game while we're down by 10. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. They don't have Isak, which normally causes a lot of threat in the last couple of meetings, and I don't think Isak, even if Isak was fit and he is ready, I don't think Eddie would put him into this game because he has no preseason, nothing. So yeah, that's gonna be a tough one, I think, for Newcastle, and a really cagey one for Liverpool because they're gonna try to get out St James's Park with no injuries, saying that I don't want to put it in that the Newcastle players is just gonna be playing dirty and they're just gonna try to hurt a Liverpool player, because I don't see the need for that. But because they can't turn around and blame Liverpool for unsettling their player. Their player wanted to leave, and I think that's kind of the statement that Bruno Gomes put out in his Instagram post, is that no player is bigger than the club, and while they're there, they're fighting for each other. So that's a statement that was put out by Bruno Gomes right after the whole Isak statement on Instagram, and the club um, replied to Isak's statement on Instagram, and then the captain Bruno put out his post on Instagram as well. So it's been a civil war happening at Newcastle, but I think that's internal. I don't think that's going to be on the field. I do think that the Newcastle players will be up for this game, and that's the other thing too that people are not taking into consideration, is that the players might be up for this game, not trying to hurt anybody, but they're going to raise their level because now they might have a personal vendetta against Liverpool, due to the fact that Liverpool, they might be looking at Liverpool unsettle their preseason and everything, and might just be up for the game, not being like, okay, then they're going to hurt anybody or anything. Just be up, ready to play some football, and that could be trouble for Liverpool. So again, we have to be switched on in this game, completely switched on. We have to take our chances as they fall to us, because I don't think we can keep going through the whole game snatching at chances and all that and so forth. We have to take them. Salah has to bang in this game. Words, we need him to step forward in this game and show the 100 mil that we spent, because that's kind of where I think everybody's kind of looking and being like, "Ooh, did you waste that money on Florian Wirtz, because he doesn't look good in the Bournemouth game?" Because you already have the agendas going. Agendas will agenda, as I always say. You can't stop the agendas from running. So we all run with them. I run with them. Everybody's run with the agendas, and rivals will always run with agendas, and that's why they're rivals. So Florian needs to step up really quickly, show his creative spark. Could be a struggle of him catching up the pace with the Prem, but we'll see. Eketike need to bang, because I think the thing is, he was about to move to Newcastle as well, so he has something to prove in that game as well. So yeah, Eketike need to bang in that game, and yeah, that's it for the league. I'm going. We just covered all the games. Prediction: Liverpool win. I mean, I'm not going to predict anything else. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm always going to predict a win, unless we're playing against somebody that I do think that we might struggle against. But I don't think that's going to be Newcastle this weekend. If that's the case, then that's the case. But I personally don't think so. That's going to be this weekend where we struggle against Newcastle. However, fantasy football, the league code is there. That's a standing where for everybody where they stand in the league. Yes, I luckily I am winning I am at top of the league right now with triple captain of Erling Haaland over last match week. But match week two is today. You can join the league. Again, it's 7 people in the league so far. You can join, add the numbers up, make the numbers up. Let's get the league higher than where it's at right now. And yeah, that's been fun. It's been a fun league over the years. We have had the league going over the years where Savage City has won it multiple times. Too much time for her liking, but yeah, she starts slow every year. She starts similar to how City starts slow, and then build up and get there in the end, and then win the league maybe by about 50, 60 points at the end of the season. So yeah, but it's a fun league. We do enjoy the banter. We do because it's a bunch of friends. You can join the league, be one of the first new winners of the league. To be fair, because we don't have any new winners of the league. As I said, it's the same person win the league almost every year. It's either that we're that bad or she's that good, one or the other. But yes, I think maybe one of the only females in the league that keeps winning the league. So I guess we are that bad. But again, if you want to try to beat, then you can beat. League code is there. The league is WCF. The code to join is 6SJT9R, and that's a code to join. And yeah, join our league. All right. And for that, I am out. It's again, it's a different show this week. It's not the same Fryday Vibz that we normally have at the end of the day for me, because I start this at 5 in the morning to at 6. Normally we start this anywhere between 6 or 8, depending on schedules, like what time we get home from work and stuff. Normally do that. Normally have a panel in. Normally have some good discussion. But this week it's due to changes that I just run the show pretty early. But anyways, if there is time, we might go live again tonight and just chat football, because that's what we do. We chat football. All right? I'm out. Catch you on the other one if we're not live again. Hey, Donaka. Yeah, just about to sign out. Show is about to end, but you can catch us on the Sunday show. We're going to be live on Sunday. For sure, we're going to be live on Sunday, and we will be watching the Brighton game. So that's the one that we'll be watching. Just about to head out. We're going to be live on Sunday watching the Brighton game on Sunday, because I'm thinking that's going to be a real exciting game, and hopefully a Brighton win. You got to beat Everton in their backyard. That's the thing. You have to beat Everton, because I can't afford for Everton to get any points for the first 5 games. I want them to be in the relegation zone for the first 5 games. So got to do a job, man. Got to beat Everton. And on that note, we're going to be heading out, and catch you on Sunday, and we might go live later today. All right? Peace. Oh, yeah. I say Liverpool, we there. Every game we there. From on field to everywhere. Premier League we say. All the rest is the only way. For me, for you. We chat football, eh. We chat football, eh. Liverpool we there.